Hi, I'm Steve Johnson, the owner of Virtuosity.
And I'm Christan Griego with Griego Mouthpieces.
Today we're going to talk about mouthpiece mass and how that affects the relationship between our instrument and the mouthpiece. Christan, there are a lot of mouthpieces out there, many different shapes, sizes, and weights. Tell us a little bit about what that does to the overall effect of the instrument.
That's a pretty tough question, and we're gonna get into this a little bit. It'll be fun, so stick with us. I think that mass placement is as important as the mass itself. So I'm a trombone player, so I'm going to speak in trombone terms, but these theories and these thoughts are the same for other instruments. Tubas generally go lighter. Why? Because there's more mass there, so they're always going to be generally lighter mouthpiece. But on trombone, you'll see, say, a large bore mouthpiece can be anywhere from a light 168 to a heavy 220 gram mouthpiece. Now, that's a very drastic difference. And what I found through years of testing and throwing away pieces of brass so that you don't have to, is that the mass placement matters. So cup mass versus the mass up here towards the rim. Now, the farther you extend this down, the more stability you're going to have on the partial feel. And that sounds great, right? But you're going to cut down on the upper overtones and some of the width and the breadth of the sound. Well, you can shorten the mouthpiece and make a larger, throat to do that too. Yes, but then the person may have to do more work to do this. So there's all these balance things within the mass. Now you can, right here, this actually goes straight. Why? Well, I have to engrave it. And so yes, I can put a taper there too, but I'm also thinking about how we're going to engrave on the machine. And so I actually put, that's a traditional place to put your engraving. So we do it there. I don't put it on the rim because I don't know if you wrap around the outside and you can feel some things, and that starts to bother me. So we have traditional mouthpiece making, which I consider myself a traditional mouthpiece. I don't go too far right or too far left in design because we play historic instruments, and I feel that there's a quality of sound that we need to achieve to be perceived as what we are, a historic brass instrument, which has been made traditionally this way for a couple hundred years now.
Makes sense.
And so if you take away the mass right here, you're going to get more width in the sound. And the shallower the cup volume, the less mass you probably want to have. Because it's interesting, like a bass trombone mouthpiece will be a lot lighter than, say, an 11 or 12 or even a 15 New York blank mouthpiece, which is crazy to figure. I mean, you're going to get more fundamental on a small bore 500 bore instrument with that heavier mouthpiece because of the volume. And so traditionally people have always used the same blanks. I actually program with sub-programs so we can change blanks per the volume and do some adjustments there, which is, that's forward thinking in this industry. It's nothing to write home about, but it is something that we consider with Griego. And like this was going to be a medium deep cup, not a deep cup, and so I actually took some material away from the outside so that I could to match the width of sound to the compression that we're doing on the inside. So we have the volume here of mass, and the farther back up this comes, and like even on the some of the Wick Heritage, they're very skeletonized up to here. So you're going to get a wide, I can look at that and tell you how it's going to play as well. It's going to have a wide breadth of sound and feel. Is it going to be unstable? Well, not necessarily if they have more mass here, but it's all compromise, and where you're choosing to put the mass matters. If you go down into the throat region and you add mass there, again, you can add some stability, but you're also going to add projection because it's going to let the sound stay more compact and cylindrical longer.
That makes sense. So there's a general conception out there is we have a big heavy mouthpiece, we're going to have a big dark sound. Or if we have a very, very light skeletonized mouthpiece, we're going to have a very bright sound. So it sounds like that's not always the case.
It's absolutely not the case. I was just in Minnesota and I was playing a trumpet mouthpiece that was very short, but it was very heavy. But because it was so short, the throat length was very short, the back bore is really open, and the sound, it was a very brilliant sound. They also had a titanium nitride coating on it, which is very, it's got a very high Rockwell hardness compared to silver or gold. And so that means that there's a skin effect of vibration on the outside with that coating, and it made it bright. And so it wasn't just the fact that it was short, even though it was a heavy mouthpiece on the trumpet, but it was very free-blowing and excited the highs very quickly because of the titanium nitride coating.
It's incredible how much of a difference these small, minute differences can make in a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
So certainly mouthpiece mass is something to take into consideration when you're matching what you'd like to get out of your instrument with the mouthpiece that you're trying. It's important to try many different models, many different sizes, and consider the fact that the placement of the mouths on that mouthpiece has a really big effect on that. Christan, anything else you want to add to that?
I would date a lot. And what I mean by that is don't fall in love with one idea. Many brass players will say, oh, I need to play this throat, or I need this style of cup, or I need this style of backbore. There are no absolutes. It's the combination of all the things in the mouthpiece. So it's best to have somebody that has a knowledge of the line that you're pursuing and the volumes and all these things that we've been talking about today, from the mass to the engagement, to so that they can match up. Even knowing your instrument, what's the venturi of your lead pipe? They can plug gauge that and know, and then keep a black book and find what works. And when you find what works, try to understand why it works, so that you'll spend less money down the road and you'll have a smaller window of opportunity for success.
It's great advice. Good luck trying mouthpieces, everybody. Hope you find the right one for you.
Can you just move the teeniest of hairs closer to the main camera?
I was just told to move back.
Too far.
Shared custody going on
Okay,
right here.
great. All right,
All right,
good?
that's good. Yeah.
Okay.